Have you ever wondered what could possibly connect ancient religious texts to, say, modern-day protests? Well, today, we're going to dive into a really powerful concept that has been fueling change for centuries, the prophetic call to social action. Let's get right into it.
I know, it might seem like a huge leap, right? From ancient scriptures to someone holding a protest sign on a city street. But believe it or not, there's a direct and powerful line connecting them. We're going to follow that line together and see exactly where it leads. So, first things first, let's break down what this whole prophetic call to action thing is all about. We need to define what this core concept really, truly means.
Okay, so at its heart, this is an idea that comes from Christian theology, but it's not just about what you believe inside. It's about channeling that faith outward into the world. The whole idea is that people are called to use their own unique gifts, whatever they may be, to confront the big social justice problems of their time. Basically, it's an active, engaged faith. It's about doing, not just believing.
Now, this idea didn't just pop up out of nowhere. To really get a handle on its power, we've got to go way back. We need to trace it to its origins, so let's uncover the deep, biblical roots of this call for justice.
You see, the original prophets weren't really fortune tellers, not in the way we think of them. In the Old Testament, people like Isaiah and Amos were called to be the conscience of their society, and that was often a really risky job. Their main role was to speak truth to power, to call out corruption and injustice wherever they saw it, and to be these fierce advocates for the poorest and most vulnerable people.
And they did not mince words. Take this quote from the prophet Amos. It's startlingly direct. What he's saying here is that all the religious rituals, all the festivals, they're totally meaningless. In fact, they're offensive if they aren't backed up by real, genuine justice for people. The message couldn't be clearer. Righteous action is way more important than just going through the motions.
So we have this ancient, really powerful idea. But the big question is, how did it leap off the page and actually change things in the real world? Well, that brings us to its incredible legacy of activism.
You can see this prophetic call just echoing through history. In the 18th and 19th centuries, it was a major driving force behind the abolitionist movement. People of faith saw slavery as a profound moral evil that they were compelled to fight. Then fast forward to the 1950s and 60s, and you see that very same call animating the civil rights movement. And of course, it was absolutely central to the philosophy of nonviolence that was championed by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
But that legacy is still being written. This isn't just ancient history. While the issues might change and the language evolves, that core call to action is just as relevant now as it ever was. So let's take a look at how it's shaping the fight for justice today.
Today, that same prophetic call is echoing in all sorts of modern movements. You can see it in the fight for environmental justice, with people advocating for the protection of our planet as a moral duty. It's there in the push for compassionate immigration reform, caring for refugees and asylum seekers. And it is absolutely a driving force in the ongoing work to dismantle systemic racism and push for police reform, all in the pursuit of a more just and equitable society.
Okay, so we've seen the history, we've looked at the modern context. But what does this all mean on an individual level? How does this translate to you and me? What does it actually look like to put this kind of face into action?
Answering the call can really be broken down into three pretty practical steps. First up, education and advocacy. That just means staying informed about the issues and speaking up for policies that promote equality. Second is community engagement. Get involved on the ground. Volunteer, build real relationships with people. And finally, there's personal witness. This is all about using your unique gifts, whether you're an artist, a writer, a great organizer, and using those talents to inspire other people to get involved too.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important question. From protecting the environment to fighting for racial justice to helping refugees, the needs out there are huge. And as we've seen, this ancient call challenges each of us to use our gifts to meet those needs. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If you were to answer the call, where would you begin?